I hope y'all are getting through the winter alright. We all know how it can be up here in the north. I've got a new interview coming your way with Heiruspecs to keep you warm. They drop some great knowledge and talk about the history of the music community in Minnesota, and it felt like we were sitting around a fire. Watch the interview, leave a comment, and be sure to subscribe to us on YouTube. This is January 2022, and you are staring at the city.
We are a live band. We rock hard like a live band rocks, but try to bring the roots of hip-hop to that.
And then if you would like to, because I'm just curious, the name has ancient roots? Can someone break that down? Or did you choose to interpret it a different way, or what's...
Yeah, the name has ancient roots and high school immaturity intertwined in a beautiful way. But Felix and I started the group, and we had been playing casually since 1996 at Central High School, really casually. And we got started in earnest a little more seriously in the fall of 97. And at that time, literally the first couple flyers for our shows just said live hip hop on it. And it was enough of a novelty at the time to have a band that it was, people knew who was playing. If it said live hip hop, people knew in St. Paul, or flyer for a place in St. Paul, they knew it would be us. But that wouldn't last. And I was taking Latin at the time, and I liked the word Heiruspecs. H-A-R-U-S-P-E-X. Somewhat because I liked the word, and somewhat because I liked what it was. It was a person who would put their fingers into animals to tell the future, but to be a soothsayer, to say, like, here's what's coming up, here's what I think is coming next in the world. So it felt a little bit like what a band should do, which is like be ahead of the curve and have some sense of the next moment and what the music requires. And then I also was just like, this looks like a cool word. When I said it to Felix, he heard it reasonably as Heiruspecs, Heiruspecs, and that combination,
Not so reasonably, for the record.
yeah, but that combination felt good. Like it's but way before Google was a thing, we were still somebody that you could search pretty easily because it's just at this point a made up word. So I'm happy with the synergy.
For the record, that is the most put together answer that has ever been given to that question.
Hey, I'll take it, man. Part of what I'm doing is just trying to write down history, you know? So, Muad'Dib?
Yes.
Did you have a say in the name at all? Or was
No, that was before my time.
Okay. When did you hop in?
Ooh, that was 99, 2000? Wait,
99.
Was it that early?
When were we doing the Twisted Linguistics Project Astro record?
Ooh, that would have been, like around...
98,
Maybe as early as 99, probably more like 2000, 2001 was when we were in it.
Yeah.
The new guy's been in the band for 21 years. That's like...
Yep, exactly.
Hell yeah. How would you describe your style?
Ooh, I don't know. That's honestly something I've been trying to figure out for years. I guess... I guess somewhat lyrical. Not that that's very explanatory.
If you can't say it, I'm gonna say it.
You say what you want. I mean, I want to hear from other people because honestly, like that's literally something I've tried to figure out.
Where I used to rap fast, this dude is like, he's densely packed lyricism. You know, he's like, I'm gonna say what I need to say, but I'm gonna say it in an artful way, the way that a lot of MCs don't do anymore. We just talk. I just talk. I made a decision to just talk a long ass time ago. But he's densely packs those words, and it's like a fucking bomb every time.
That's okay. That's fair.
Yeah, I saw an in-studio performance once, and there was a line where you were like, you just like flipped 3 different bars into one. I was like, this man, it completely makes sense to me.
That's me trying to fit too many words in. That sounds about right. I've always had that problem.
Okay, respect. Originally, how many people were in the group?
Originally, I think there was 7 in the very first iteration of our performing band, because we had horns.
Okay.
Does that feel right?
It's drums, bass. When we had a lineup, I feel like 7 is about right. But the very first time we played live, I was like, I'll get a drummer, you get another rapper. So the very first thing was like, I have a drummer, and it was very like, I know 25 bass lines. It wasn't like, these are our songs. It was just like, here's some bass lines, and I'm going to tell the drummer the tempos, not by going like 87, but by just going faster, slower, like cross snare, whatever. And then Felix still is a very capable freestyle rapper, but back then, a different level. It was something that was a lot sharper and a lot more of like a. It was something you had to have sharp in the late '90s. I feel like in our scene.
Your sword, yeah.
You gotta have them machine gun raps on the ready.
And I mean, again, speaking on behalf of Felix, it's the swimmers will wear 5 suits to be in really good shape. So they wear 5 suits, so then when they actually go to compete, they only wear 1 suit and they can swim faster. I feel like if you can freestyle over a live band, then when you go with a DJ, it's like you just took off 4 swimsuits. So like when he would be with a DJ and things, people would be like, oh my God, he's so good, because he was so comfortable in a band, which is going to be louder, and not only louder, but more dynamic. So if you can hang in that setting. So that's how it started. But I think you're right, Felix, that like then basically it became a 2-person horn section, a 2-person rhythm section. So that's 4 people. And you, and then generally another rapper, Lee Perry, Noah, Muadi. So yeah, 6, 7.
Yeah, because Google like just gives you all kinds of different answers. So I need the source. I need it from the source. Yeah, and then it became like a neo funk soul jazz hip hop like just Wu-Tang or like what? Like,
yeah, we moved around. We moved around a bit. Like I think early on. Like you can ask any producer, like, who are your inspirations, or like who do you look to when you're looking for what your sound should be, and like actually good story. I feel like back in the day, like Russell Simmons and Rick Rubin were running around being like, we want to make a track that sounds like that Kool Herc song, and they would run around and they'd be like, listen, we made this song, it sounds just like that Kool Herc song, and people would be like, that's dope, but that don't sound nothing like the Kool Herc song. I feel like the same way we used to be like, we're trying to be DJ Premier, and we sounded nothing like DJ Premier at all. But we were like, that's what we're going for. We actually had a thing where we were trying to make our music sound more shitty, aka like we were trying to make it like, cause sample based stuff is like low bit rate, and a lot of times there's elements from a sample that are slightly out of time and shit like that. We were trying to do that with a band in the nerdiest possible way.
Hell no.
It's evolved from that to, I feel like now, like we all have our own influences and we all bring things to the table. I mean, once upon a time, it really felt like you largely wrote most of the music, and now it feels like I have a couple beats that I brought to this latest record, and like everybody's contributing music as well as they possibly can. So we're a little more grounded in our influences as opposed to just trying to be something.
And more comfortable in our own skin. Like I think we had a lot of success failing at trying to sound like DJ Premier. Like that ended up resulting in some good stuff, but it's really satisfying to try to sound like ourselves. And I think if you've been in a band for 20 years, which is an honor very few musicians will get, there is this time where you go, we know ourselves, we know when we're when we know when we're challenging ourselves the right amount, and we know when we're doing something that really isn't our bag. To address like when we sort of Wu-Tang or professionalized to some extent, it was almost like, okay, the horn section thing was cool, but it was never going to be financially feasible and sort of musically feasible to go, we're going to try to sound like DJ Premier. That horn section is going to be looking at a lot of rests for a lot of measures before it's their chance, and you sort of go, okay, let's make this more lean. And we then kind of became a keyboard, bass, drums, guitar when Josh was available kind of band. So when we were really heavy traveling, Josh was just like, sorry, I'm not dropping out of college. I don't know why you guys are. And we were like, okay, we'll see you when we get back. So he's always been down with us, but when we were like out a whole bunch of the year and this was our living, he was to the side, helping us at home shows, in the studio. But it's been this lineup precisely since like 2007 or something. So.
Yeah, which I'm sure results in a lot of like that family feel, right?
Yeah.
That's how I would personally describe the band. And when I see y'all play live shows, it just feels like a community is coming together. Can you speak to that?
I just was thinking about one of our long-running working titles, The Brothers We Are, and like that's something that we've thought about as a concept for a long time. Just like that phrase in and of itself is like, yeah, that's what it is. Like I don't have a band, I have 5 other brothers.
Yeah.
So, yeah.
There's chemistry in this lineup of Heiruspecs. Like we don't really rehearse all that often. Like we've had. I mean, granted, right now coronavirus makes it very easy for nobody to rehearse. But like we've often been a band that's just like our rehearsal is just sound check. We just go to the show and do what we do, and it's always been amazing. Like to me anyway, it's felt amazing. It's like we haven't actually seen each other. Some of us haven't touched our instruments or like done what we're doing for 3 months, but then like at the show it's just automatic, and just because the feel is there. You know what I mean? So.
Yeah. And we're like at the family crib right now, right? Like literally family.
Kids running around upstairs.
And
it's your practice space.
We got. I'm very lucky that my wife was like, cool. There's a corner of the basement that's going to work to turn into this space that gets used other times, but it's this little it's this room that feels like Heiruspecs, and. You guys talked about the family between the group, and I do feel that, and like. You guys are over here, especially John and Felix are over here way more than rehearsals. Like, hey, we're watching a basketball game, or hey, I made pie, come on over. Like, those type of things happen, and that's beautiful. And that was harder to do when this was your job, because I think you're less likely to invite the people you work with over to your house, right? And now we're at the point where we have this thing, it is work, but we just go, come on over, and then stick around after. We would probably be sticking around even if we weren't doing an interview, just like to talk and catch up a little bit.
Yep.
The other part that I feel I connect with what you said about the family thing is there's a family that only comes together when Heiruspecs plays, which is like we're lucky that when we play generally maybe 250 people will come out. I know like 110 of those people personally. Like not like a hey, buy a shirt, nice to see you, but like a how are you? And a lot of it starts from St. Paul Central where we came out of. It's extended though. It's like it's beyond that, and
it's people we've worked with in the past and like 9-to-5 jobs. It's people from Central. And like everybody's sort of started to know each other because of these shows that we do, even if it's occasional. Like I feel like somebody that I used to work with runs into somebody we used to go to school with, and they had no connection previously, but they're like, I know you. It's all good. It's all love.
Yep.
Yeah. Sometimes Minnesota hip hop can feel like a family. Outside of y'all group, like who would you say is part of like y'all family? Like outside of Heiruspecs, other musicians or people that you might look up to or are inspired by.
Yeah, I mean, there's a world of like hip hop groups that like we came up sort of alongside, and for a short time we're part of a record label called Interlock with. People like Cancer, Troop, those guys, Big Zach. Now I guess most people probably know them from their work as More Than Lights. Yeah. But like you had a group with Zach as well, and Traditional Methods. That's definitely family. A little further afield from that is like what's left in the Twin Cities of like the CMI or Odd Jobs crew. People like Alexi. And yeah, like there's a whole bunch of people who I think of as family that like, that like St. Paul Slim I think of as like, family here. People who we don't really have a ton of shows that anymore, like Tri D, but then people who are out there doing it, like Carnage is also somebody that I think of as family. Certainly think of the Abstract Pack as family. I see Glow, like I don't see him as much as I used to, but I used to see him like all the time, and he still comes out and we still go out and support him. So
I see Brandon all day named by y'all.
That's another one.
Time.
Big Quarters. Yep.
Big Quarters.
Yeah. What's the affiliation?
Okay. To answer the family question, there's a lot of artists that feel that way, but you just mentioned Brandon all day and his brother Medium Zach, and they were making waves as producers really early on in our career, and there was a time when we had this one blissful summer, which I believe was the summer of 2004, where we've had more blissful summers than just that one, but we had like we got a record deal just at the end of like a record label actually just writing you a check to go like, oh cool, we received your record. We had to spend maybe like $3,000 mastering it, which is like and then the rest of this advance was for us, and we were just like, let's live. So like we didn't have jobs that summer, and Brandon hit up Felix and was like, I don't have a job, we should make rap songs together. So I would be running with them on a track in St. Paul at noon, and you would be getting together with Brandon before or after to like make songs. And Medium Zach came out with us on his like 21st birthday to the Dinky Towner, and I was just like, these guys know so much about music, and they're significantly younger than us, particularly Medium Zach. Brandon, I think, is pretty close to our age. But at this point, when you said family, the first person I thought of was Medium Zach. I was like, he taught us a lot about music. We taught them a lot about music. When you had to attend to your mom when your mom was sick, Brandon and Medium Zach came out to basically replace him in our set for the summer. So it was like we did 2 of their tunes. There were songs where like, John had a 16, can you get a 16? We'll figure it out. And like, and it was, so we got to bring them in the van early on, probably one of the first times they got to head out and play at shows out of the city. So yeah, that like family like that. The Lioness is another person that you've done supportive work with. We got a tremendous leg up early in our career from work backing up Atmosphere, like not that early in our career, but like let's say 2000 to basically right before 9/11 was the first time the band ever backed up Atmosphere. That opened a lot of doors for us. It was probably like 20 shows, right? It wasn't a million shows, but
and like a live record came out of that. The Sad Clown Bad Ways.
3.
Sad Clown Bad Up 3, where like the band backed.
What year was that?
That was 2001.
2001.
Okay. And like, you know, I mean, frankly, all those guys are also extended family, and you know, like there's this thing in the Twin Cities where it's like the St. Paul crowd and the Minneapolis crowd, and like I feel like sometimes we've been the St. Paul crowd and like haven't necessarily meshed with them. Like, you know, we've had our moments where we were close and not close, and you know, various partnerships. I used to freaking breakdance with Idea in my mom's garage, but it wasn't necessarily like we were all going to go out on tour together. You know what I mean? So it's you know, there have been these relationships that have made us all know that we're in it together, even if we're not all hanging out at each other's houses all the time.
And I think part of the success of our group, and I use success strangely because I mean success meaning that we still feel like brothers and we still love each other. Some of that success is not getting stars in our eyes, so that when we got the opportunity to play a little bit with Atmosphere, who eclipsed us success-wise, I still felt like this nucleus was the most important thing. I cared about that work. I cared about that profile building. But I wasn't about to be like, screw y'all, we're back in Atmosphere now. I was like, this is a part of the thing. When I spent, 5-6 years touring significantly with Dessa, to the point where I had to sub out of a couple of Heiruspecs shows. But I took great care to be like, this still really matters to me. We're going to get a really good sub. I'm going to set the rehearsal here. We're going to run the stuff down with him and get comfortable. This gig still matters. Yes, I can't play this particular gig. I'm out in Montana or something. But no matter what other cool stuff happened, we took great care. Our keyboard player, Devon, is a highly in-demand composer. Our drummer is a very busy spokesperson working for the city of St. Paul. We all have like demanding lives and jobs. But whether it's outside music stuff or outside life stuff, we treat this with reverence. We know this is something special. And we know it's not like, Devon was like, I play in a lot of projects. This is the only band I'm in. And that's, I feel the same way. Like, I play bass with other people, but this is the only thing where I'm like, it's a family.
Yes.
Yeah, you said we treat it with reverence.
Yeah.
Yes.
That means a lot to me.
It is really hard to treat. It's really hard to ask other people to treat something with reverence if you don't treat it with reverence. And in this, I feel like I'm getting preachier than I expected to. In this world, the people aren't apt to treat musicians with reverence. People aren't apt to treat bands with reverence. And somebody said, I've been honored that a couple people who have eclipsed me success-wise but got started later than me have been like, I took the whole way you ran your stuff at venues, and that's how I do my business now. Because if the sound person knows that I take this very seriously, he or she is going to take it very seriously. If the club knows that take it very seriously, if the person we are opening for knows that we take it very seriously, and vice versa, that reverence means that even when you know you were hoping 100 people are going to come, and you know that probably only 45 people are going to come, you're still doing a sacred, beautiful thing, and you have to treat it like that.
Yeah.
You can't phone it in. We didn't phone it in when we were playing to way less than 30 people. We still treat it with reverence.
Yeah, and I think creatively that's built us. Like, we've had, not an insult to people who do this other approach, but I feel like we get together and we know that we are the ones making this music. Like, I don't really foresee a future where there's like 4 different band members in Heiruspecs, right? But I know artists who, like, every record it's a different band basically, or like, you know, producers especially, like, you just take who you can get, the people in the room that are going to make the thing that's in your head, but then you're done with them after that, and that's cool. Great things can come of that. I'm not mad at that, but like, I feel like staying together and having that reverence for each other and for like this entity that we've created together has made us have a sound that is our own sound. And like, I couldn't tell you exactly what that is, but I know when I hear it. You know,
I was gonna bring that up earlier. Like, I've been saying that for years. I'm like, I don't know what a Heiruspecs song sounds like until I hear it.
Yeah.
Like, you know, like I can't quantify to someone what makes a Heiruspecs. I'm like, the 6 of us, you know, or any, you know, like anybody that's been here, like, that's what made Heiruspecs song. Like,
yeah.
And y'all have been a unit. I think it was called Get Out music video. Get Out or
Get Up.
Get Up. Get Up. Get Up.
We made a movie
video.
with Jordan Peele called Get Out.
Yeah. No, not Get Out.
Had
Get
small
Up.
commercials.
But the reverence I saw there too, I saw like it looked, because it was security following the president, right, from place to place. Like,
They had me playing an Obama character, which I do not now and did not then look anything like Barack Obama.
And that's again, that's a playful video.
Right.
It's not a playful song, right? I think it's an anthemic song. It's an enthusiastic song, but I feel like that song is going, life is going to punch you in the face, and you got to be strong about it.
Yep, that's exactly it.
Yep.
And I think I think when we filmed it, I do not know if President Obama had been elected yet.
No.
I was running for office.
So
elected yet.
it is hard to think of the President of the United States as an underdog. I would posit that the easiest president to think of as an underdog might be President Obama. And then on top of that, he wasn't elected yet. So I felt this thing of like, right now, you're the underdog, and we could tell that story with that song.
Yeah,
Sure.
The song came before the video, of course, and the song has nothing to do with politics. It's just like, like, it sucks to get kicked in the teeth, but what are you gonna do but stand back up? You know?
Yeah, like even y'all were even back then referencing like the police harassment and like how that is like a real thing, you know, like I saw that scene and it was just like, wow, it's like you're predicting the future, you know.
Right. I mean, sadly that's because it was already happening.
Yeah.
I mean, I've been harassed by the police. I've seen my friends harassed by the police. I've seen police to do dumb shit. I fucking watched the police shoot somebody's dog in front of a house party in South Minneapolis for no fucking reason. But at the same time, I grew up across the street from a retired cop who would like do like repair work on like St. Paul police squad cars all the time. So cops were always around. It's, you know, there's good and there's bad. I don't really know that like there's like a good cop versus bad cop. I think cops are cops. We're all people. We all make mistakes. Right now, cops have a pretty bad rap. Right now, some of y'all deserve that shit. There's still good cops out there. There's still people trying to do their damn job. But yeah, we talk about it because we've seen it. It is what it is.
I'm glad you said that you heard that in our music.
I did.
Because I really feel like there's a shorthand where people think that there's nothing political or confrontational in Heiruspecs' music, and that we're this like we're a safe block party band, and like we'll take out our curses for a show. There we have a lot of songs that don't touch that stuff, but it has been a part of our fabric for, and it's I think a lot of people don't see that. So thank you.
Yeah, I would say that you guys read the room, you know. Yeah.
But you know, if you just want to party, you don't have to listen to the lyrics. You can just party.
True.
I'm still gonna say that shit.
Yeah. Can you talk about the Turf Club? or Triple Rock, or like any of these like venues that used to be like Minnesota. I guess Triple Rock's, or excuse me, Turf Club is still kind of there, but you know, y'all have played everything. Y'all played Sunset even. Yeah. You know, like talk about Minnesota venues.
Yeah, so you know, there's the ones everybody knows, right? Like everybody's been to or at least knows about First Avenue, and like everybody in in St. Paul, I guess the Turf Club is that institution,
right?
And like there's newer things which I think are just as cool, but like aren't, you know, as big. Like Amsterdam Bar, I like playing the Amsterdam Bar, even though like it's sometimes hard for artists to get a big crowd there. Downtown St. Paul still remains a tough spot to get people out to, but like, you know, I miss the Triple Rock. Triple Rock was a cool room. That room had atmosphere, and like we always had good experiences with them as a venue. They always had good sound guys. Like I miss Big Pete at the door. It's you know, when I think of like iconic Twin Cities venues, we have some and we've lost some. The Quest was a thing for a lot of artists for a while. Man. We had that series at the Ascot room upstairs.
First Fridays.
Yeah, I don't know, man. There's venues that I love that we've never played at seriously.
Really?
Yeah. Well, not because like they wouldn't have us, but just it hasn't felt like a fit for what we're doing.
Okay.
Like we're not typically gonna play a venue that's got seating.
Right.
So like that kind of excludes some venues.
Although,
but then there's
so I was gonna say, although Suburban World Theater was like one of the places I remember playing with seating. You know, which is another one of those venues. It's like
that's a weird ass show.
Yeah. Right.
But like the Varsity, you know, that's a place that we probably could have played and just have. It's just nothing against them. It just hasn't felt like the right fit for us as a room.
I thought about. I really enjoyed the Staring at the City piece that was like, can you make it out of Minnesota? You did. Yeah. I thought it was just really great, and you got Finding Novion is who I remember like the most talking about it, and having this sense of going, how was our path similar and how is our path different? Do we qualify as making it out? We built a national reputation, albeit a small national reputation, but we built one, and it came out of here. And I do think that being a live band opened up a lot of doors that should have been open to everybody. But sound men a lot at the time, but sound people had a particular affinity for being able to see past what might make Heiruspecs different. Black people on stage, which doesn't happen enough in Minnesota, and certainly didn't happen then enough. Yeah. But they're like, there's a drummer, there's a bass player. I can ask him what his amp is. Oh, what do you got there? Oh, Gallion Kruger? All right. And it's like, it smooths some edges that shouldn't need to be smooth. Right.
Yeah, like to the point where I can't tell you how many rap shows I've been to where fucking sound guys are like, these motherfuckers don't know how to hold the goddamn mic. Why are you cupping the mic? Barely ever have that complaint.
Even though you cut the mic, right?
Because the sound man's just like, no, it's part of the program. Like this works. Yeah. I've seen this 1,000 times.
Yeah, and like for us to be pretty quickly able to get a 45. I thought about this a lot watching your piece. If you're a world-class rapper, but what you got is a 25-minute thing, a 25-minute set, there's spots that just don't know how to handle a 25-minute set, right? Like they just go, especially back in the day, it was like we get 3 bands a night. They all got to play at least an hour, you know? And we were just a band that, especially because we could take solos, and especially because Felix could freestyle, we could do that. We could do the 45-minute set.
We could do your 3 hours.
Right.
And often did.
Which we have, which we have.
Yeah. So that helped a lot. So when I think about venues, a big one, it's not in Twin Cities. Pizza Luce Duluth was a place that we like. They just celebrated their 20-year anniversary. We were probably their 3rd act ever up there. And I called the guy, and he was like, look, the only way I can make it work is if you guys play 3 hours. So we did 45 minutes as a jazz band, 45 minutes as a crappy jazz hip hop band. So it was like never played a full snare, always cross snare, just like still like
because they got their dinner crowd in there when you started.
Yeah,
you know?
And then we'd get to do an hour and a half as Heiruspecs, but that was the only way we got into that room.
What you're saying, actually somebody else told me something really similar. Afro Keys.
Okay, sure.
Told me something really similar, and now it's like being metastasized and like solidified. So like that's
about Pizza Luce Duluth.
About playing with the band.
Okay,
right.
Yeah. Anyways, okay, so now we got this holiday classic coming up, and y'all do it every. Did you do it last year?
No.
Yeah, obviously not, right?
The first year we hadn't done it?
Yeah, it's the first year.
Let's talk about the holiday classic. Like, what was the impetus and y'all kept it going? Like,
I comes back to that family question because like we you know, you start off in high school age, everybody goes off to college, everybody after college finds jobs wherever they found jobs, but everybody comes back to town for the holidays. So like you come home for the holidays, and like we were like, we should do a show where we can see the people who left town. We should do a show where people can come home to see us.
Yeah.
And so that was a big part of it. And like, yeah, a lot of these people never left. A lot of these people have been here the whole time. But like, you know, it's great because like we see at the Holiday Classic show a lot of our friends from school, a lot of family that is just not here on a regular. So it's an excellent excuse for us to have a bit of a reunion. But it's just fun. It's also just a good time of year. It's like a time of year that actually typically is kind of crappy for doing a regular ass show.
True.
But like, for us, it's just worked because we've been able to spin it a little bit. And no, we're not playing Christmas songs or nothing like. But we get to catch the people who are in town and wanting to have a drink and avoid family for a minute.
It's like the unofficial St. Paul Central reunion to some extent.
Go.
And that was this. We did it with Heiruspecs and Triple Rock with Guardians of Balance and Ace Skeleton. This one didn't say Holiday Classic on it, but at the time, the person who booked it was Patty from Dillinger 4. And I'm pretty sure he named it because I was like, hey, Patty, we'd like to just come back and do this every year. And he was like, the Holiday Classic. I was like, all right, cool. And we've done it at Turf, Entry, Triple Rock, Amsterdam. And the only time we did it super early was when we were doing well enough in town that Trey Hartson from Farside opened for us. And that was like Thanksgiving. Thanksgiving weekend, we did that, and we got to play Pass Me By with him, like, doing his part, and I was like, that is worth moving the show 6 weeks. Like, we will bump that to collaborate with Farside.
Yeah. That was fun because also I met the Farside came to my family Thanksgiving dinner. Or not the
or
Farside,
Trey Hartson.
but Trey Hartson and the band. Freaked out one of my cousins pretty good. It's great.
It's classic shit, man. And you got Roisin.
Yep.
And Juice.
Yeah,
Juice
Juice
Lord.
Lord. Yeah. And I know that you are a big supporter of Juice Lord because a lot of the video content.
As am I.
Yeah. And even when we put up our new photo, you got on it staring at the city. Was like, yo, Juice Lord, he's wearing your t-shirt. And I was like, yeah, we are at an age where our journey is not all the way done, but our recipe is cooked. Like what we're doing, but we can be amplifiers of younger voices, of just like Juice. It makes no sense that Juice Lord isn't filling up venues on his own. Right?
No.
But can we be a part of that? Can we put him in front of a room with 250 people in and have them discover the joy that we've already discovered of seeing him rap live and of listening to him
and there's a bunch of those out there and have been a bunch of them. Like I just, we have always had this like problem I think in the Twin Cities and in the hip hop scene where like a lot of Northside artists, whatever their background, don't show up on the radar.
Right.
We've always had this problem where black artists don't show up on the radar. If you're in the hip hop scene and you're not looking at black artists, like you're missing out on a lot. And like I've always had like a small relationship with Tim at Urban Lights.
Okay.
And like because back in the day when there used to be graffiti on the side of that building, like I was like, can I do a mural over here?
Yeah, straight up.
What's up? And I used to walk up there all the damn time. And like he's had his ear to it forever. He knows where they're at. Like, and we as a community should know where they're at. Like, shout out to our friend Mastermind. His son Kaleem is another young voice that people should be checking for. But like we've seen, the only way that it seems like some of these artists like get a name is if like they are aligned with somebody else. For a time that was Lioness. But like Mujah's son.
Y'all played with them, with Nazim and Spencer,
Yeah.
It's at Turf Club.
They did that, and then we were like, hey, we got like 5 shows this summer, and I worked out with Liban. They're like DJ / friend / sometimes on their tracks. I was like, can we get them at all our shows? And they were like, yeah, we made it work. They did cameos at a bunch of shows, and they were always like, so dope.
But yeah, there was a hot minute when I was trying to like get like Tomorrow Genius to be more known, and there's all these names that are just like you have to be in a certain world to know them, and they should be known by all, which is bullshit.
And we're not doing our job right if we aren't we can't just put on our friends from our generation. With the limited resources we have, we got to amplify up and coming artists. So.
Yeah.
Yeah, and I was gonna speak to that, so I'm glad that y'all said it, so I don't have to. But there does seem like there can be a problem with who the gatekeepers look at, and I would love to see more diversity in that. And
just like straight up, don't be a fucking gatekeeper. Like help everybody. Don't block the way, at least.
Put people on. That's your job.
Yeah.
And I think, I wear a unique hat because I think part of my role with the work I do with the Current, I don't do a ton of curatorial work, but I do some, and I co-host the hip hop and R&B show, and it's just a thing of when we started that show, I was like, let's not just celebrate the people who are quote unquote easy to celebrate, and by easy I mean like the radio edits are already done and they're being serviced by a radio company. They come in and you can just do this, and that's wonderful. People should aspire to make it easy to be covered. But this moment of going, if you are shining a light, there's people who have been easy to cover, who have been doing their homework for a long time, who've gotten looked over, right? Who have gotten, sent the press releases on time, sent the radio edits, but still haven't gotten the looks. And we can do something to change that. So I would be remiss, there are some gates. We need to make them more wide open and more discerning in the good ways. What's the quality music? What's really Well,
because you're a gatekeeper doesn't mean you got to be the doorman at 54. You can just have the gate be open.
We had a conversation about trying to get Juice Lord on the Current more, and there was some confusion in email about radio edits and stuff, and I just ended up just flipping swear words and sending it. Yeah. And if the Current doesn't have time to flip your swear words to make a radio edit happen, I'm not saying I'm volunteering my services, but somebody, the homie, somebody should be able to flip it. And if you gotta come to me, come to me. I got Pro Tools, I can flip it. It's fine.
I feel like Y Khalik flips 90% of the swear words for a whole family of artists.
Yeah, for real. Yeah.
Wow.
Yeah, I feel like Tech did that for a hot minute for a lot of these
Look at this
too.
conversation. It's so real. It felt like for a moment there was only one way to get recognition, and that's by aligning yourself with Rhymesayers, right? But now we're at this point. Would that be a fair statement?
I think that was a perception for sure.
Yeah, a perception.
Yeah. And I feel like we had some alignment. I feel like we were a little bit of an exception because we were running our own house the whole time and signed a deal independent of that. But I think in shorthand, I think you're right. I think there was a time where that was the perception.
There was a time where they had relationships with venues that nobody else in the hip hop community had.
Would be able to access.
Certainly there was nobody in the hip hop community for a time that had relationships with a venue the size of First Avenue, and they were able to get showcases in 7th Street Entry it seemed like kind of whenever they wanted because of that relationship, which is great. But whether that's because they put in the time and the effort to build those relationships, or whether it was because First Avenue was just open to working with one party, I don't personally know. I feel like they put in the time and the effort to those relationships, and if you are the first ones to do it, everybody's naturally going to look at you like, how did you do that? And if they can't figure it out by just watching your moves, then they're going to be like, can you help me do that? Right. So I think that there was a natural gravity towards Rhymesayers for that purpose, or for that reason. I think that now venues are less important. The internet is sort of the great equalizer, right? There's so many people that don't even do full-on release shows anymore, and what even is an album for a release anyway? It's been excellent in the Twin Cities to have non-traditional venues. We've had restaurants that have been willing to host shows and things like that, or pseudo restaurants, the now defunct Cause Soundbar was one of those places where I saw a bunch of CY did video release parties at that place, or random release shows for just a song, not an album. And I feel like that sort of transition between you have to have an album or you have to be launching a tour in order to get a show to everything can be a celebration because the internet makes everything available. I think it's kind of meant it has been less important to need those big venues, and thus maybe less important to have a label to get you on. So find your own way, make your own way. Still, the hard work is going to pay off, but
right. And I would love to hear maybe a prediction, because we're at this point now where it's past that, right? I for various reasons, right? We're past that point in Minnesota hip hop
Yeah.
community history. And I would argue now there's like, you got the Destiny Roberts, you know what I'm saying? The
Yeah.
White Khalik, you got the Nazim Spencer Joels. Like y'all are the high respects, right? So like based off of your name, what do you see coming? You know?
So as far as artists getting up, I think that there's a lot of like collaboration that's going to build artists up. And it used to be that you only collaborated with people in your clique, but like now we see artists that are getting collaborations with like way bigger artists, like
Casey Pluto.
yeah.
Pluto, Kanye.
Yeah, and before that, I think there was also, oh my God, how am I spacing his name right now? Alan Kingdom, who's back in town and just put out a new video recently.
Y'all discovered Alan way back. Like I saw a poster way back with Alan name. As a matter of fact, it's that one.
Yeah. He's a super smart rapper, I think.
Right.
And it's like, I'm curious to see where he goes, but he's yet again proof that like you don't have to just be in this bubble. Like he's putting his fingers out there and feeling outside of the Twin Cities for those collaborations. And I think that like that seems more natural to artists that are coming out right now and are coming of age in their music right now than it did to people coming up when we came up, just because like the networks were not available to us. And that's largely the internet, but not exclusively. Sometimes you need family members in another city to get that thing going on, and not all of us had that. So
I'm thinking a little. Just to be honest, I'm thinking a little bit about time because I think I got to get and attend to my family.
Worries.
Dizzy Faye, Blood Smoke Body, Juice Lord. To me, like those are some artists where I'm like checking a lot of the boxes you mentioned, including collaborations with people from out of town. Blood Smoke Body did Webster from Milwaukee.
Webster X is dope.
Yeah. And Dizzy Faye just got with Fouché and with Ying Yang Twins. Like,
oh really? I didn't know
I
that.
saw that.
So yeah. And Juice Lord, I'm all in on Juice Lord.
Yeah, he seems like the full package.
It's a great investment. Yeah, if there's any shout outs you want to make or
honestly, I guess I just had a different angle on the question. I thought
please.
more like predictions from the future of what's going to happen from us, which all I was going to say was I'm just keeping the slate open for surprises. Like I can't predict what it is we're going to try and do in the next however long, but just the fact that there's some perpetuity, there's some, like, if we're going to do it, we're going to keep doing it until somehow we think that we can't, or, get some overwhelming feedback that that's not the case, but I don't see that happening. So, I'm just trying to keep it open, see what happens.
I see y'all really stepping into like that OG role, you know what I mean, and just like really putting people on and staying consistent with this holiday show, providing that as an opportunity, almost like a quasi sound set, you know what I mean, or like a Prof Outdoors where like you can take that artist that nobody really sees yet and then give them that dope spotlight. Not to say people don't see Juice Lord.
Right.
But we've always tried to give that platform for our holiday show, just because why not? Like, what do you got to lose? But also like it is somewhat of a built-in crowd for us. We pretty much know we're gonna do okay on attendance. So like if you are a young artist and you're just getting out there, like if nothing else, like this is a very good practice show. Like you can figure out how to win over a crowd. So
I mean, if there's anything else, any shout outs, that's actually all my questions. So our time.
Shout out to you.
Yeah, thank you.
Like, and the coverage you've already been doing. Thank you.
Thank you.
Yeah.
I'm gonna go attend to a crying baby.
Y'all good.
Just a random little, but just like thinking about like POS demoing like the Killing Me, like on that tour, like that was nuts. Like I remember him being like, I'm gonna put this out. I don't know when he wrote it, but I remember it was like maybe a week or so into the show. It was like that first verse came out. I was like, what is that? What? Okay, this dude just turned a corner. I distinctly remember having that thought.
The history, man. The history never ends. Staring at the city, staring at the city.
Oh, my legs.
This one right here.
Yeah.
With the live hip hop tag on it.
Yeah. Which shirt are you wearing in that?
Oh, I'm wearing a Megatron shirt.
The throwback.
Yep.
You want to see something really crazy?
Definitely.
Look at this shit.
Oh.
You have to get real close to that joint.
Oh, the white T-shirt shoot.
Is this a throwback photo shoot?
I think this is a photo shoot. Yeah. Like,
Yeah, that's.
You have to get way
That was the
in
white
on that.
T-shirt.
I got you.
I'll have to come over there.
I'm pretty sure there was only ever one time where we were like, oh yeah, let's all wear matching shirts. And
Yeah, dumbest idea ever.